All right, everyone. So this morning it was confirmed that Adidas have signed a new deal with United that lasts for 10 years, and the club will earn £90 million a year from Adidas, and that's led to some people assuming that this means that the Glazers are definitely staying. There is counter arguments to that to suggest that Adidas is a serious business and wouldn't want the that to just keep giving the Glazers money for them to pocket themselves and to not invest back in the club. And so there's an argument and a counter argument. My initial thought was it's probably not good news. Onto a wider matters really for me at the moment. Um, I'm the type of person that looks at this whole situation and thinks, if we've done everything we can do as a fan base, then we walk away if they stay and we go, okay, we've done everything we can do. We've left no stone unturned. We've been aggressive trying to get rid of them. And if they can survive this, they can survive anything. If we can say that, then you have some acceptance and you have some peace. Or I would have some acceptance and I would have some peace. The truth is, the fans, as a fan base, we could have done so much more than what we've done. I'll go through a few of those things that we could do and could have done and haven't done. I'm going to start with something that's close to home here, fan channels. There's a number of them. And all they're talking about at the moment is transfers and friendlies. And they're doing watch alongs. And they're covering every little bit of how close a transfer is until it's then completed and then it's spoken about. There's one fan channel that, if I'm not mistaken, I think has probably got like 1 million subscribers, or it might have more. It's a huge, huge fan channel with a big voice. And that same fan channel has accused ex-players and journalists of being too selfish to speak up and say what they think about the takeover situation for fear of being chucked out of press conferences or not having their finger in the pie next season and beyond at United. And I think it's a bit hypocritical. Are the fan channels doing what's best for the club? Because a fan channel that's got 1 million subscribers could set a tone. They could say, we're not doing any watch-alongs. We're not doing any stories on on signings, target signings, medicals. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano. We're not doing any of that because what we are saying is, until the Glazers leave this club, we're not doing anything other than covering what we can do about getting them out, problem solving, bringing fans together, trying to make sure that we've got as many ideas as we can, and that is the main priority for our football club. Because as a fan base, I think that is our priority, and they're supposed to kind of represent fans. Now, loads of people are still watching those videos, and those people are guilty of not doing enough. That fan channel will still earn its money. That fan channel will still get loads of sponsorship, and it's still got loads of viewers, and it's still got loads of subscribers, and it's still got loads of likes and clicks. But I thought they represented what was best for the football club. That isn't what's best for the football club. You're peddling glazer propaganda. I'm sure it's not done because they want the Glazers to stay. I've heard the person that represents the channel talk very, very sensibly about the Glazers. She has a lot of the same opinions that I do about them. But there's more that can be done. And when those videos are put out there, the fans can make comments on that. The fans can say, this isn't what we want here. I don't care about Mount. I don't care about Højlund. I don't care about Onana. I don't care about Dortmund or Madrid or Arsenal or Wrexham and these friendlies that we're playing. You need to give us some content on the takeover. The people could demand that, but there's a big portion of people that watch certain channels that aren't probably the most intelligent in terms of football intelligence. So they could do more as well. moving to wider aspects of what fans could have done. This is not a fan base obsessively trying to get the owners out of the club. That it's not. Just passing by and having the odd protest, but turning up in numbers to games, home and away, and couldn't even stand outside for 18 minutes because it's too much trouble. Having the odd flare here and there that's green and gold, and having green and gold scarves is not enough. That's not obsessively trying to get owners out of the football club. Letting one of the parasites responsible for the decay of our club walk around Wembley twice with not a hint of worry or concern or anxiety for him. That's not a fan base trying to obsessively get someone out of a football club. I'm going to say something now which is going to be hugely unpopular, but I don't really care, because I will say what I think needs to be said, and I don't care because I ain't got I haven't got any subscribers, really. 2 I think I've got, so I've got nothing to lose. And I do want what's best for the football club. If the Glazers had bought Liverpool in 2005, they wouldn't have seen beyond 2010. We all take the mickey out of Liverpool and say that they're always the victims, it's never their fault, and there's certainly a lot of truth in that. And I know that their fans have been party to some pretty bad stuff down the years, and I'm not talking about Hillsborough. But their fans would not have rested until the owners left, and they're not afraid to maybe get a little bit creative about what they do. When Gillette and Hicks were there, and the fans wanted them out, they were gone. It was done, because they would just not relent until that happened. Now, that's horrible to say that. I hate Liverpool, but their fans wouldn't have stood for this. Not a chance. And actually, the thing that we don't like about the Liverpool fans, that they've got this chip on the shoulder, that they're self-entitled, that they think the world owes them a favour, they're actually qualities that help you when you're in need of change, and you're the underdog in trying to achieve that change. In the 1980s, Frank Bruno fought Mike Tyson, and nobody thought Frank Bruno was going to win. It was impossible. People feared for his safety because Tyson was an animal at that point. And I was very young, but I remember staying up dead late and watching it with my dad. And at some point in the fight, Frank Bruno caught Tyson and hurt Tyson. And Tyson was stunned and stumbled back to the corner near the ropes. And me and my dad watching it were going, go on, hit him, chase him, hit him, finish him. Frank Bruno stood there stunned that he'd hurt him and didn't follow up. And Mike Tyson shook his head, recovered himself. It gave him some time. It gave him time to regroup. It gave him time to very quickly in his head plan what he needed to do next. That chance never came around again. We, the United fans of Frank Bruno in this process, and the Glazers and Mike Tyson. And a few months ago, they were against the ropes. It was obvious they had no money. It was obvious the minority investment thing wasn't going to work. The Sir Jim thing wasn't going to work because it didn't make any sense, and that there's a big proportion of the current shareholders who'd have a massive problem with it. And we had someone who was prepared in Sheikh Jazim and the 9-2 Foundation to come in and give us the money that was needed to get rid of them. They were in trouble. And as fans, we've done a Frank Bruno. We've stood across the other side of the ring and we've thought, oh, we've got them. And then we haven't followed up. We haven't continued in the same, the aggressive way, the militant way, the hostile way that we've needed to. We haven't done that. And it goes back to what I spoke about a couple of days ago. We have 2,000 or 3,000 fans who are absolutely obsessed with getting the Glazers out of the club. and far too many other people who are not obsessed with it. And what I keep hearing is, if you think you can stay, you stay and you see what happens. What's going to happen? What are you going to do? So 18 years of watching the club be raped and pillaged isn't enough for you to have taken any action. But this, them staying, that's going to be the final step. That's the final straw. That's one liberty too far, is it? For all of a sudden, this militant fan base to come together. Bollocks. Absolute bollocks. No one will do anything if they stay. And they know that. The 58 did a survey or poll or whatever on Twitter, and it might have been on other things as well, saying that would you take us getting relegated if it meant the Glazers leaving? And it was something like, it was close to 80% of people said, yeah, I'd take getting relegated. It's very, very easy to press yes because you think it's the right thing to press. But that's nonsense. Because the reality of it is, you won't even stand outside the ground for 18 minutes of one league game for fear of it having an effect on the team and them not getting the result that you want. So you're prepared to go as far as the club get relegated? No, you're not. Again, a hardcore of fans are, but the get behind the lads brigade aren't. That's nonsense. I genuinely would be absolutely fine with Man United getting relegated if it meant the Glazers going. 100%. Because I haven't been to games, I don't watch games now because of them. So it makes no odds to me. If United got relegated, the minute they got relegated and the Glazers, and if they left, I'd buy a season ticket for me and one of my boys, and I'd go every other week, and I'd be proud, and I'd stand there and say, I didn't give them a penny of my money. And I felt the same when we won trophies as I felt when we were struggling under them. And I'd be really, really proud of that because I've kept my integrity. So I would take them getting relegated. People say they would, but they wouldn't. I said the other day, I don't think you can have a perfectly united fan base and get the Glazers out. If we have to divide our fan base to get the Glazers out, then do it. I don't care. I don't care if it's a divided fan base. There's too many fans to be all singing from the same hymn sheet anyway. We're already divided. But what's the 1958's thing? Some things are worth fighting for, or something along those lines. As they said, this is generations of Reds worth of memories that they are trying to fight for, that they are putting effort in to try and make something happen for the memory of those people, as well as our current Reds and future generations of United fans. If you're really trying to do that, then you take some hits along the way. You take a hit that the fans aren't united. You take a few games getting called off. You take some controversy because it's worth it in the end. Some dude on Twitter or Facebook the other day said, is there anywhere that we can buy shirts that's not from the ground, or not, obviously not from the ground, but unofficial shirts, basically dodgy shirts, and by the way, there's absolutely loads. Someone replied saying, shirt sales don't do a lot anyway. The club sees very little of shirt sales, and I thought, what a short-sighted comment. Maybe this club don't see a lot in terms of shirt sales. I'm not too sure about that, but maybe they don't. But that's not the point, really. Adidas, who've just signed a new 10-year deal, obviously think there's enough shirt sales that they think, well, actually, we'll sign a 10-year deal. If hardly anyone bought the shirts, Adidas have had something to say about it. So it's about creating that toxic brand that Mike Keegan's spoken about. That you create a brand that becomes unsustainable, untenable for serious sponsors. It's not about how much money the club's pocketing. And my other problem with that statement is you've put a blocker in the way of someone trying to make some form of stand. And whenever anyone does make some form of stand, you've always got some smart aleck who'll say, well, they don't earn a lot from that anyway. Empty the ground, they don't earn a lot from gate receipts. They don't earn a lot from shirt sales. The mega stores don't make any money. Well, where are they getting the money from then? Because they've been taking money out of the club like a cash machine for the last 18 years and continue to do that. So where are they getting their money from then? If it's not from gate receipts, if it's not from shirt sales and merchandising. TV, yeah, okay, TV. And sponsors. So the club doesn't get direct money from shirt sales, apparently, or not a lot, but it will impact on the sponsors if those sales are down. It feels like whenever someone says, this is an idea, this is what we could do, there's always someone waiting around the corner to go, nah, that's too difficult. Or that won't make that much difference anyway. You can't win a fight like this unless you're prepared to put yourself out of your comfort zone, unless you're prepared to do things you wouldn't have done before. And these aren't even big deals. Not buying a shirt is not a big deal. Not going to a game, I'm sorry, is not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. And again, people say, well, they've got your money anyway, you stupid idiot. So if you don't go in the ground, then they're laughing their heads off because they've still got the money. What? So if Old Trafford, again, it's about toxic brand. If Old Trafford is 75% empty on Sky, on Match of the Day, on BT or whatever it's called now, on worldwide networks everywhere, that's not going to make an impact. Obviously, it's going to make an impact. The truth of it is, the fan base is too apathetic. And I hate the Glazers. They're wholly responsible for a lot of stuff that's gone wrong with Manchester United. But as you can probably tell, and I am a Red, and I'm proud to be a Red, I am really, really pissed off with our fan base for being too passive and too swept along with the propaganda that they've put out there. And if and when they decide to stay, there's a lot of people who need to take a long, hard look at themselves before they start moaning about it. Up the Reds, Glazers out.